Clicking on people is a fundamental part of playing RuneScape, so for a fun challenge, I decided to get rid of it. This is InvisScape, my hardcore Ironman account where everyone is invisible to me at all times, thanks to a couple of Runelite plugins. Despite this limitation, this account will get a fire cape, hopefully without dying along the way. Hello everybody! Welcome to episode 3 of InvisScape, and I am in a fantastic mood today. The reason why I'm in a fantastic mood is because at the end of the last episode, I was feeling a bit... What's the word I'm looking for here? What is the word I'm looking for here? Lost? Overwhelmed? I'm not even sure what the correct word is to describe how I was feeling here. Oh, well, 37 mining. But yeah, I was just kind of concerned about leveling up too high and locking myself out of getting certain key items, but the more I looked into it, I was looking at the wiki's bestiary to just go through all the monsters by combat level and see like what could I possibly miss out on. Well, it turns out it's not that deep. There's not anything too important here at these early levels. Well, except for SAS member, I would really love to be able to fight him, but it's just not that deep. I don't need to worry about getting my combat level too high because basically every key item I need to get is a monster that will be aggressive to me regardless of my combat level. Funnily enough, as it turns out, that chef's hat might just be one of the few items that I need to get early on if I want to get it at all. And that is probably the most effort that anyone is ever going to go through to get a chef's hat. I'm going to use my newfound optimism to go to a place that you have probably never been before, to fight an NPC that you have probably never fought before. But first I just need to do a little bit of smithing to get myself a little bit of a gear upgrade. Well, did you know that iron plate legs actually have a negative 11 range bonus? Couldn't possibly be me. This is the Necromancer's Tower. I mean, it doesn't look like much of a tower. I guess maybe by medieval standards it's a tower, but in here there is a Necromancer. Not to be confused with this other guy who is also a Necromancer. He's kind of interesting. He has a drop table pretty similar to Dark Wizard's, but he only has a max hit of a 3. Although he is the OG user of thralls and he can summon a zombie to help him. I bet you none of you have ever walked into this building before. And I bet you've also never fought this guy before. I am taking 2 hit splats though, so that is a little bit more damage than I was hoping to take. Wonder if there's a way that I can... Oh yeah, okay, so that's the zombie. This guy seems to be healing up much faster than I can DPS him. And he seems to actually have decent defense. Alright, looks like this guy is one of those NPCs that was coded to regenerate health a lot faster than most. Alright, so maybe fighting this guy isn't as good right now as I thought I would be, but you know what? I'm not dissuaded. I am brimming with optimism. Now that I know that I can train my combat up without feeling bad about it, I'm just gonna go do exactly that. Well, here's a spot that I used a decent bit during the Trailblazer Reloaded League. You don't need to go to Karen to fight sand crabs. There's actually this beach over here on this Isle of Souls. There is a pretty good spot with 3 sand crabs somewhere around here. I guess for now I'm just gonna have to brainlessly run around the beach and try to get... But actually, I'm gonna mark this tile. I think this might be the tile I'm looking for. And this is gonna be the end of a nice little combat training session. Level 10 defense, level 23 combat, and you know what? I don't feel bad for getting that combat level. It's crazy, I know, but it's so nice to now be liberated to be able to play this game that's all about gaining levels and not feel bad about gaining levels. You know, I don't know if I could ever make it actually playing on a pure account. Maybe one day I get into PKing and I feel like making a pure, but I feel like I would just be so stressed all the time about getting, you know, levels up, getting level 2 defense. But yeah, look at all these levels I got. Super nice. And at level 23 combat, like, that's still low enough to fight a bunch of the monsters that I wanted to fight. Alright, so I decided that before I continue combat training, I want to get myself a little bit of an upgrade. And that means that I have come back to the mines. What can I say? I yearn for the mines. I don't think I've ever been this unlucky with iron bars in my life. I think over the last 5 inventories, I've been averaging maybe like a 35-40% success rate with actually getting these bars. I did mine a little bit of a buffer, but it seems that I think it's already been eroded entirely. I'm gonna have to go do some more mining to get to the level that I wanted to get to. I am genuinely baffled by I've never been this unlucky. Just look at, I was supposed to end up with over 250 iron bars by the end of this, and now even if I get perfectly smelt all of these, which we know isn't going to happen, I won't even get to there. I cannot believe how unlucky I've gotten. Guys, I just realized that there is one quest in the game that does not require you to talk to any NPCs. And that quest also quite conveniently gives smithing XP, which is what I'm after right now. That quest of course being Elemental Workshop 1. Now my only possible concern with it is that you do need to fight an Earth Golem during that quest. And I'm not 100% certain if they're visible or not to me. But I damn well want to try to finish that quest because it would be really cool to have one quest done on this account. Now for that quest I do need to have a piece of thread which I cannot buy at a shop. Fortunately though, for whatever reason, there is this singular thread spawn that I can access here in the kitchen of the Jolly Boar Inn. Well, I am very smart. I completely forgot to check the fact that this quest requires level 20 crafting, which I don't have. So I guess I need to go get it. Actually, I think before I even waste any time getting 20 crafting, I'm gonna go check to see if I can even complete this quest. No! I was hoping it wasn't true. But it is true. Even in rock form, the Earth Golems are still NPCs. And it looks like they are unaggressive, so there goes that idea. Unfortunately then, looks like as it stands, InvisScape is completely locked out of doing any quests. Okay, after much trials and tribulations, there is level 35 smithing. I can now make a steel scimitar. And I'm gonna do exactly that, because that's my new best in slot melee weapon. You may not like it, but this is what peak performance looks like. Alright, I think at this point with my better gear, I should be in a position where I can actually fight these guys without having to eat every time they hit me. Now it's finally time for me to get a chef's hat the most difficult way anyone has ever done so. By getting it as a 1 in 128 from pirates. Because why on earth would anyone else do that? Hey guys, I've spotted a problem. I am taking less damage now, but I'm also not doing a whole lot. I think 10 attack just ain't it for these guys, so time to go back to sand crabs for a bit, I suppose. Time to make my way to this beautiful green tile that's still been marked for me. Fortunately, I wasn't lucky enough to get a single easy clue from well over 100 sand crabs. The chef's hat is the same 1 in 128 from these pirates, and I'm hoping that I can get it fairly soon. I wish I could get a double eye patch, you know, like the Patrick Star in SpongeBob when he has the double eye patch. I feel like it just really works thematically with this account, you know, what with the whole not being able to see anyone. I will say getting my stats up was a good decision. I definitely feel that this is going a lot smoother than it was before, definitely taking a lot less damage and doing a lot more of it. Oh my god, I have a friend! There's someone here fighting pirates? Who on earth would do that? It is surprisingly annoying when you're actually trying to get aggressive NPCs to attack you, how long sometimes it takes to do so. Hopefully one day risking going to Ardoin through the wilderness lever doesn't catch up with me. Fortunately today is not that day. Well, this is gonna be the strategy. Gonna pick myself a few hundred wheat in these fields and bank it. Then I actually need to get pots somewhere, and then I need to go to the mill up there and turn them into flour. I need to get buckets and get water, and it's a whole process. This would have been a million times easier if I could just fish, but as we found out in episode 1, that's not gonna happen on this account. Now, since I'm here in Ardoin, I actually just remembered something while I was doing the Land of the Goblins quest a while ago on my main. This cave right here, also known as the Goblin Cave just beside the Fishing Guild, well, as its name implies, it's full of goblins. And while the goblins in here are not any higher level than the other goblins you might find in the game, I distinctly remember while I was doing this quest on my main that they are aggressive to you as long as you are not wearing... Oh, see? Yeah, I just got attacked. So yeah, as long as you don't have the Goblin Transformation Potion, these guys will be aggressive to you. And since they only have 5 HP each, this should be a much faster way of getting a Chef's Hat than fighting pirates. Tipoyo later realized upon checking the wiki that these goblins have a separate drop table from regular goblins, and for whatever reason, this one does not contain a Chef's Hat. Well, this is probably going to be the longest part of the process. You have to fill grain and operate the hopper controls one by one. That's right. You can't fill it up with all your grain and then just pull it down once. No, you have to walk back and forth, one at a time. Well, that's one inventory of grain painstakingly shoved down the hopper. And since there are no pot spawns in this mill, I have to walk to the bank to get all my pots to pick up my flour. Well, that took a while, but it's finally done. I have enough bread dough, and pastry dough, pie dishes, red berries, apples, everything I need to make some bread and some pies to get to level 32 cooking to get into the cooking guild. Well, I didn't check the burn rate of bread before I started this, but I didn't expect it to be this bad. It's like almost 50%, perhaps even a little over that. Oh, that's very disappointing because I even thought I had overestimated how much bread dough I would need, but it looks like I'm gonna need to go get some more flour because I'm 44 XP away from being able to make red berry pies. Well, there's level 10 cooking. You can now cook red berry pies. And I'm just really hoping that everything I have in my bank will be enough to get to that level 32 cooking because I really don't want to go mill more flour. That is not very fun. And coming up, this should be level 32 cooking. You are now qualified to enter the prestigious Chef's Guild. So obviously that's the level I was going for. Fortunately, I didn't have to gather any more ingredients. As you can see, my burn rate went down considerably from where it started off at. I distinctly remember during the Trailblazer Reloaded League, there was a task to make 100 pies. And I did that with access to the cooking guild and with infinite run energy. And even then I found that that particular task took a long time and maybe wasn't worth the time it took. But yeah, so on this account, having to walk back and forth to the Ardoin mill from the bank and having to world hop for all of these ingredients, oh, this took way too long. As a matter of fact, how many people do you know that baked fucking pastries to level 32 cooking and then killed pirates for a 1 in 128 chef's hat to get into the Cook's Guild? I don't think anyone has ever done that before. I think this is probably the longest, hardest, most circuitous route anyone has ever taken to get to the Cook's Guild. But hey, you know, it's that kind of stuff that makes a snowflake account a snowflake account. I guess the good part of this whole ordeal is that I have now ended up with a ton of food, which is going to be super useful for actually fighting pirates and everything else that I do afterwards. And if I ever want to get to that level 80 cooking for Shark, well, I've already made a tiny bit of a dent into that. Well, I'm back at the pirates. Still no success getting that chef's hat, but you know, hopefully soon. Please, please be soon. Whoa, 30 strength? Total level 300? That's a clean looking left column there. Okay, ignore everything below this line, but look at that. That's a clean looking left column. Alright, well that is 124 pirates chasing a 1 in 128 chef's hat. So disappointingly, I am rapidly approaching the drop rate and I'm still yet to see it. Hopefully very soon. There it is! Finally! I don't think anyone has ever been as excited for a chef's hat drop as I am right now. 139 pirates, so only 11 past the drop rate. I can't complain about that. And now with this hat and with this cooking level, I am allowed to enter the Chef's Guild. Sorry, the Cook's Guild, but the level up message did describe it as the prestigious Chef's Guild. Alright, time to finally enter the prestigious, world-renowned Chef's Guild of Gillinor. Where is everyone? There's no one here. Oh, right. So, why did I grind for this hat again?